All right, sixth graders, we're moving on here in lesson 5.4. Use the distributive property to simplify the expression. Once again, use the distributive property to simplify the expression. We're looking here at 5 times x plus 7. All right. This is a number right next to parentheses, so it's going to be 5 times x first. Well, 5 times x is just 5x because I don't know what x is, so I can't get a number. So I just write that in the simplest way possible. And then I do 5 times 7, or a plus 7. 5 times 7 is 35. So I get 5x plus 35. Pretty basic. 9, and then 3x minus 5 in parentheses. Well, a number right next to parentheses means multiplication. So I'm going to think 9 times 3x. Well, 9 times 3 is 27. So 9 times 3x is 27x. Then I do 9 times a minus 5, or negative 5. 9 times 5 is 45. So this is going to be 27x minus 45. That's going to be that simplified expression. 6 times 3 plus y plus 5. Well, 6 times 3 is 18. 6 times a plus y, 6 times y is 6y. And then 6 times a plus 5 is going to be a plus 30. Well, I can combine my 18 and 30. 18 plus 30 is 48. So this actually is going to become 48 plus 6y. Or if I have 6y plus 48, that's okay too. All right, let's roll down to this one. 42 times x minus y in parentheses. Well, I think 42 times x, that's just going to be 42x. Then it's a minus y. That's a positive and a negative, so that's a minus. 42 times y is 42y. My final answer, 42x minus 42y. Let's go to this one. 1/3 times 9 plus y plus 15. Well, when I do 1/3 times 9, remember that's just multiplying fractions. 1 over 3 times 9 over 1. Well, 1 times 9 is 9. 3 times 1 is 3. I could have also simplified that and made that a 3, made that a 1, but that's a pretty simple problem. 9 divided by 3 equals 3. And then I have 1/3 times 15. So if I come over here and do 1/3 times 15 over 1, 1 times 15 is 15. 3 times 1 is 3. I do 15 divided by 3. Well, 15 divided by 3 is 5. So I end up with 3 plus y plus 5, because the 1/3 times 9 was 3. The 1/3 times y is 1/3 y. I don't want to forget that. 1/3 times y is 1/3 y. 1/3 times 15 was 5. I can combine the 3 and the 5, and that gives me 8. That means that for this one, I would end up with 8 plus 1/3 y, or 1/3 y plus 8. That's okay too. All right, this is the last one here on this particular one. 8 times x plus y minus 7. Well, 8 times x is 8x. 8 times a plus y is going to be a plus 8y, and 8 times a negative 7, or just minus 7, so I can put my minus sign there. 8 times 7, I believe, is 56. So I end up with 8x plus 8y minus 56. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clear this one a little bit, because we're going to need to come back to this board in our second part. So you can just kind of watch me clean that up a little bit. I'm sure that's very entertaining. Set that over there to dry as I bring back my second board that tells me to simplify the expression. These directions are going to sound familiar here in this chapter. Simplify the expression. Once again, I'm looking for things I can combine. Well, once again, I've got a number right next to parentheses. So I've got 7 times x. I need to remember that 7x. 7 times a plus 7, well, 7 times 7 is 49. This 2 is not part of the parentheses. So do not do 7 times 2. This 2 is not part of the parentheses, so it's just plus 2. Well, I can combine a 49 plus 2, and that makes 51, which means that my simplified expression is 7x plus 51. We go on to this one, 2x plus 7 plus 10x. Well, 2x plus 10x, I know that that's 12x. And then I add my plus 7. And once again, if I have 7 plus 12x, that's fine. 4.1, 4 and 1/10, outside of parentheses. Well, once again, a number right next to parentheses means multiplication. So 4.1 or 4 and 1/10 times x, first of all, gives me 4 and 1/10 x. But then I've got 4 and 1/10 times 2 and 6/10. This is just decimal multiplication, folks. Just like we have done previously. We're just going to do this like we would 41 times 26. Well, 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 4 is 24. Put a 0 down so it all lines up with my 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. I can add those two numbers together. 6 plus 0 is 6. 4 plus 2 is 6. 2 plus 8 is 10. The 1 and the 6 are two numbers that come after the decimal in my problem. So I need 2 numbers after the decimal in my answer. I end up with 10 and 66/100ths. So 4.1 times x is 4.1x. And then I'm going to have my minus 10 and 66/100ths. Depending on the numbers, there might sometimes be a little scratch work, but it's not going to be anything you can't handle. All right, let's go to this one. 6 plus 7, and then times a 4 plus x in parentheses. So first of all, this 6 is not part of the parentheses. That stands alone. Plus 7 times 4. Well, 7 times 4 is 28. And then 7 times x plus 7x. Well, I can combine a 6 plus 28. 6 plus 28 gives me 34. 34 plus 7x. I go to this one, x plus 4 times x minus 8 in parentheses. Well, this x stands alone, plus 4 times x, which is 4x. 4 times a minus 8 is going to be a minus 32. 4 times negative 8, negative 32. Now, here's a different situation because I can combine an x and a 4x. Remember what we talked about in a previous lesson. If there's no number in front of the variable, you'll remember that that means that the number 1 is there because 1 times x equals x. So really in this situation, it's a 1x plus a 4x, which makes 5x. 5x minus 32. And that's my simplified answer. 2/3 y plus 1/6 y plus y. Well, I've got all sorts of things here. Once again, I can remember there's no number here, so it's like there's a 1 there. First of all, I can add 2/3 plus 1/6. So I come down here, 2/3 plus 1/6. As 6th graders, I'm expected to understand that I'm looking for a common denominator. Well, a common denominator with 3 and 6 is going to be 6. So my 1/6 is going to stay a 1/6. That's going to become a 6. It's 3 times 2, which got me 6. So 2 times 2 gives me 4. 4/6 plus 1/6 is 5/6. So when I combine that, I get 5/6 y plus the y, which I now know is a 1y. But I can combine these because they both have a y. There's no exponents that we're working with today, so I'm basically doing 5/6 plus 1. Well, 5/6 plus 1 is 1 and 5/6 y. That's the simplified expression. Now, to clear a little more space here, I wanted to look at something just a little bit different. okay? We're going to look at this one here, which is 3/4, then in parentheses, x plus 2/5, and we're going to add 8x to that. Well, first of all, I know that 3/4 x is 3/4 times x is 3/4 x. And then I know that this is not part of the parentheses, so I'm just going to go ahead and add in my 8x. But now I have to figure out what 3/4 times 2/5 is. So I'm going to come over here, 3/4 times 2/5. I see that I can cross-check, not with the 3 and the 5. Nothing can go into 3 and 5 except 1. But I can cross-check a 2 and a 4 by dividing by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 5 is 10. I end up with 3/10. So 3/4 times 2/5 is going to be plus 3/10. I can combine a 3/4 x and an 8x. 3/4 plus 8 equals 8 3/4. So I end up with 8 3/4 x plus 3/10. That's my simplified expression. All right, let's look at another one. 8x plus y in parentheses minus 8x. Well, 8 times x is 8x. Remember, a number right next to parentheses means multiplication. Plus 8 times y is 8y minus 8x. Well, 8x minus 8x, it doesn't matter what x is. This number and this number are the same. And whenever I take the equivalent from itself, just like 4 minus 4 is 0, 28 minus 28 is 0, the same thing, 8x minus 8x is going to leave me with 0, which means that the only thing left is this plus 8y, which means the simplified expression is 8y. Last one that we're going to look at, 7x plus 8y plus 4x plus y in parentheses. Well, the 7x is not part of the parentheses. That's going to stay the same. The 8y is not part of the parentheses. That's going to stay the same. But now I've got this 4, and remember, a number right next to parentheses means multiplication. So it's 4 times x. Well, 4 times x is 4x. This is 4 times a plus y, so that's going to be 4y. I look for things I can combine. Well, I can combine a 7x and a plus 4x. 7x plus 4x, 7 plus 4 is 11, so that's 11x. 8y and 4y plus 8 plus 4 gives me a plus 12y. Now, eventually the time will come in your life where some of these are positive, some of these are negative, and we'll talk about that as time goes on. But now this is just 11x plus 2y plus 12y. There's nothing left there to combine, and that brings us to the end of lesson 5.4. One more lesson in chapter 5, 6th grade. We'll talk to you later. Bye.